Hey Timmy, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I'm going to put your prescription into your RayBan. Let's see. This is a RayBan 5277, color 5227, eye size 52. You found this frame and sent it to me. It's brand new, and you want your prescription put in it, and so I'm going to do it here at freeprescriptionlenses.com. Now, this is an older vintage frame. I'm not sure where he found it at, if it was on eBay or some other site, but what I'm going to first do is remove the original demo lenses. RayBan calls these coquilles. Every frame company does. That is the original lenses. I refer to this as a POF, which stands for Patient's Own Frame. That's what happens when you bring me your frame. I'm going to put it into my Santinelli LE1000 edger, and it's going to trace, it looks like, the right lens first. Here, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You bought single vision lenses from me. You paid an extra $39 to have the transition. I'm actually speeding this up. It is now 4:51 on Saturday, February 8th. It's 47 degrees in my hometown, according to my Samsung Gear watch. This whole process is going to take about 15 minutes, and I'm going to show you how I would do your lenses. I went ahead and actually put the block on your right lens first, just to speed things up. I'm going to show how I find the prescription in your left. I'm going to type in your pupillary distance of 61. This is a polycarbonate lens being cut for a Xyle frame, which is an old school name for plastic. It is the right lens. I hit start, and the first thing that's going to happen is actually going to trace the shape of your frame onto the lens. Timmy, let's make your glasses. Timmy, I love your name, I love your name. Of course, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. Timmy. So it is traced the concave side of the lens first, which is closest to your eyelashes. Now it is tracing the convex side of the lens. The cutting wheel is actually at the very bottom on the left. Hopefully you can see it looks like a heavy grit sandpaper. That's going to grind away most of the lens. Then it's going to cut the actual knife-like bevel into that little channel on the wheel in the middle. The wheel to the far right is for polishing. We will not be polishing this lens. It will strike the cutting wheel, and I'll close the door after that. It just gets kind of loud. I will come back as it's closer to its finished shape. But I'm going to take your left lens, which is -1 1/4, -1 at 25. I will take it out of its foam packet that it arrives to me in. Spin the axis wheel to 25. Spin the power wheel to -1 1/4. I set your lens in, and then I rotate it to find the optical center and to line up your sphere power. I check the cross curve, which is your astigmatism correction. You have two curves on this lens. -1 1/4 is the first. You have another diopter of astigmatism being -2 1/4. So I'm going to put some red dots on there that help me line it up on my blocker. This is the left lens. Mark that left. Put this into my blocker. I'm going to take, well, I'll get you a new one out here. This is the block that's going to hold it in place while it's cutting. I'm going to apply a double-sided adhesive sticker. The black side is the sticker. I put it on this side. Pull off my side. Line it up, and hopefully you can see this. Those dots in there, I'm going to try and line up your optical center onto the crosshair that's there. Did it, and take my word for it, it is perfect, because we'll check it in a little bit. Go ahead and toss your packet into the trash, although if you like, I'm going to start mailing those out to everyone so you know what lenses you are getting. So the lens is getting closer to its final shape. If you notice, it's still flat all the way around. The next step will be to put the bevel on there so it's a knife-like edge, so it stays inside the bevel of the frame and will never pop out. So now the bevel goes on. No more flat edge. The polycarbonate, your unbreakable, bulletproof, up to 22 caliber, and has both UVA and UVB protection. Polycarbonate lens. Cuts dry. You can see the water running in the background. Water will kick in here in a little bit just to wash away all the optical sawdust and residue that will be there. And then I'll test it to make sure it fits in the frame. Because everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. Everybody gets the unbreakable bulletproof lenses. just for safety. You never know when you're going to be standing next to someone doing something stupid, or someone throws a rock, even a mower, accidentally on purpose. I've got to protect your eyes. You only have a pair of them that are going to last you a lifetime, and they're not in great shape now because you need glasses. Now, the power in your right eye is -2, -75 at 150. What that means is everything is in quarter increments. 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1. If this were a ladder, you're on the 8th rung of a ladder with a -2. Without your glasses on, everything is magnified. Your lens will actually minify things to get them to the right size, and then the astigmatism takes away the fuzzy edges. So 6s and 8s, P's and F's don't look alike. So get everything the right size, take away the fuzzy edges. That knob tells us where to turn. That's why I was spinning your lens, to find the correct meridian. It has to go in your lens, into your frame this way. If it starts to rotate, if you had a perfectly round frame and the eye wire screw got loose, even though there's no screw on a plastic, and your lens rotated, you just wouldn't see as well. So almost smooth at the edges, but what I'm going to do is go to my handstone, which is completely flat and works just on friction. You can see how it's put some more of the optical sawdust onto the edge of the lens. If you can see that white powdery substance there, I'm going to use my thumbnail and scrape that off. I've done this so much, I actually have a V-shaped bevel in my thumbnail. I take that, I wipe it onto the counter, and then in one fell swoop, onto the floor. Look at that. I am a professional. I went to school for years to learn how to wipe things on the floor. Don't think you can do this on day one. I am a pro. Okay, to make sure that your lenses fit into your frame that you mailed to me, I'm going to pop it in at the outside corner and then push down at the nose. And it's actually a little bit snug, so I'm going to take it out. And actually, I'm going to go old school. I'm going to make it fit here in a little bit. I'm going to take your left lens, put it in. I'm going to flip it over from right to left. And I'm actually going to take your lens down 1/10 of a millimeter smaller than the last one cut, so it's hopefully fit into your frame. I am going to go old school and show you this. This is something that puts the fear into most opticians. I'm going to take that block off, take off the sticker. I'm going to dry everything off, and I'm actually going to put a red dot on the lens where your optical center is, just so that red dot doesn't come off while I'm working on it. But I'm going to go back to my handstone now. 99%, and by the way, it's still just tracing what you saw before. Trace the concave side, now the convex, to make sure it's large enough to fit in the frame. And then it's going to drop down onto the cutting wheel, just like the steps you saw once before, until we get a opposite shape from that, where it's going to be on this side. Again, that's going to drop down and hit the cutting wheel, and then I'm going to go to work. Now, 99% of all optical shops are just order takers. Simply like when you go to McDonald's. They go in, they take your order, they have someone else do the work, they call you in 2 weeks and tell you to come pick it up, whether it's working or not. If it's not working, they have to send it back to the lab for another 2 weeks. But so very few opticians do their own work anymore. 99% do not. Rarely do you see an optician who cuts their own lenses. Now, this one was still a little big, so I'm going to take this by hand, and I'm going to go all the way around the lens. And actually, let me turn it this way. And I'm going to take 1/10 of a millimeter off of your lens by going all the way around and putting the bevel. Now, that is not blood that's on the lens. That is just the ink that I use for cutting. Again, I'm going to use my thumbnail, my V-shaped thumbnail, to scrape all the residue off your lens. And now I'm going to try mounting it in again. I start at the outside corner, and then with my thumbs I push down at the nose, and it snaps in perfect. So the left lens is cutting. I'm actually going to darken that red dot because I'm going to use that to measure your pupillary distance in a little bit. But in the short term, let me spin the axis wheel back to 150, which is the axis of your right eye. Put it in, and I'm going to double check that everything lines up perfectly. It does. -2, if you see that, you have -2 here, and then -2. If someone owed you $2 and they owed you another 75 cents, they owe you $2.75. I'm going to spin the astigmatism wheel till we get 2 3/4 diopters, just shy of 3, right there at my thumbnail. So that turns out perfect. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 25. which is your astigmatism correction in your left eye. And by the way, I meant to say, there is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It is not a disease, it's not an affliction, it just means shape. Someone has straight hair, like me, I have curly hair. That is it. It is not, everyone freaks out over that word. All astigmatism does is make things look fuzzy. The actual power of your lens gets things the correct size. So, this is the last of it. That is your left lens. Let me close the door so my $30,000 edger doesn't have its electronics get soaking wet. Get this ready to clean this off, the red dots off your lens, and get this ready for shipping. Now this whole thing takes 15 minutes, and Timmy, I hope this is fun for you and you watch and learn how your glasses are made. Now this is the third pair you have gotten from me, but this is my first, I just got the GoPro camera for the holidays, and never before have I been able to show you how I cut your lenses. I do appreciate you getting a third pair from me. Okay, so this is done. I'm going to open up the chuck, which is essentially a lathe that puts on the cutting wheel. Now again, back to my handstone, where I'm going to put the safety bevel onto the lens. Use my V-shaped thumbnail to clean all that off. And since you saw me throw it on the floor before, I'll make my wife happy and drop it in the trash can. It's always just fun to get just a little dig at the wife. Okay, so I'm done with the left lens. Let's grab your frame. I'm going to start at the outside corner, and using my thumbs, I push down at the edges. And in it snaps. I'm going to take the block off, pull off the sticker, dry this just a little bit. Now your pupillary distance is 61. When I hold my PD stick up, let me turn this card over so you can see the back of it. Don't worry about that one right there. That's just one that's left over. So I'm going to put that in there. And if you notice, when I line everything up on the right, you get 61 millimeters from the right lens to the left lens. Pull this down. I've already spun the axis wheel to 25. Put that over the optical center of your lens. Dial in the power. It comes to -1 1/4. With an additional 1 step of astigmatism correction. And now reads -2 1/4. That checks out perfectly along with the PD. Let me put my PD stick up. The last thing I will do, second to last thing, I want to remove all the red dots off of your lens. And I'm going to get your frame in standard alignment, which means it'll be a 3-point stance on the counter with these two temples and the bottom of the lenses being the 3 points. I flip that over. Everything is good there. Make sure the hinges are lined up perfectly. And I'm going to get this, well actually, before I get this shipped, I'm actually going to activate. If you notice, your lenses are mostly clear now against a white background. I'm going to show you what your frame looks like when your lenses get dark. I'm going to pop them into a very bright ultraviolet light, and that's going to make your lenses turn dark. Now, all transition and photochromic lenses turn dark on day 1. Give them 2 weeks. They can continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks till they get to their final setting, provided they're exposed to the sun every day. Now, they work best in slightly cooler temperatures. When it's in the upper 90s, they just don't get as dark as it is in the upper 80s or any temperature below that. You're tired and hot, you're miserable, your glasses are miserable, everyone's miserable, no one works perfect. Now, the other time they will not work, the one limitation of any photochromic lens, is they will not turn dark behind the steering wheel of a traditional car, because your windshield absorbs all the sun's ultraviolet rays that would cause your upholstery to rot or your dashboard to crack from sitting in the sun. So depending on the age of your car, they'll still get a little bit dark, just not 100% dark like when you step out of your car. Now, it takes 15 to 30 or 30 to 45 seconds for them to darken, a little bit slower when you come back inside. It takes 45 seconds to a minute for them to lighten back to mostly clear. But once you get past that 2-week period, these will perform perfectly for years to come without any problems. And Timmy, I really appreciate you getting your glasses from me here at freeprescriptionlenses.com. If you have any questions, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. I will get back to you very quick. And hope you, Timmy, have seen one of the many ways that I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.